Are you frustrated about your sales performance? Do you have the right people on your team? Are you stuck at a routine in terms of business development? Sandler Training is a global leader in sales and business development training and has been creating solutions and accelerating the success of high achievers for over 30 years. If it's time to take your business to the next level, contact Sandler Training at 801-639-0488. 801-639-0488. Is your business struggling with the cost of an employer-sponsored health insurance plan? Learn how your business and employees may benefit from new rules under the Affordable Care Act. There's no reason for you to continue bearing this unnecessary cost. Call the experts at Summit Risk Management and Insurance, 801-671-2431. That's 801-671-2431. Learn more at www.summit-risk.com. That's summit-risk.com.
If your business doesn't have social and mobile marketing strategies in today's digital marketing place, then you're quickly getting left behind. Don't get left behind, get Social 5. Social 5's team of professional writers, graphic artists, and tech experts helps businesses with mobile, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email, SEO, campaigns, contests, plus more. For a free consultation, go to social5.com. Don't be invisible in today's digital marketplace. Get Social 5.
Why is understanding your wealth and managing it important to you? Because you have worked hard to get where you are and you have goals for your future and maintaining your standard of living. At Foresight Wealth Management, we care about providing our clients with impartial advice and solutions that work with their goals in mind. Securities offered through Securities Service Network Incorporated, investment advisory services offered through Foresight Wealth Management. For more information, call 801-462-2200 or visit at www.foresightmanagement.com.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Good morning, Utah small business owners. Welcome to the Small Business Hour with your hosts, Mark Hunter and Chris Brown. It's time for your business to go from small to large.
Good morning, Utah small business owners. This is Chris Brown here with my good friend Mark Hunter for the Utah Small Business Hour here on K-Talk. And we're all about supporting, promoting, and educating Utah small businesses. And, we really do get to meet some amazing businesses, don't we, Mark?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just really cool, some of the folks that come on our show and that we get to go out and meet with. And
Utah's a great place for business.
And broad-based, too. I mean, all kinds of different businesses. Tech, we got tech, we got manufacturing, we've got pharmaceuticals, everything.
Yep.
Who are our sponsors this week?
So my company, Summit Risk Management and Insurance, is the sponsor for today, and I'll brag a little bit about what we do, and you can get a hold of us at summit-risk.com. And our company is mostly help small businesses and in their workers' comp and health insurance and business liability insurance, employment practices liability, so on and so forth. So we help with a lot of that with risk management. And then also CEO Builder, Rich Tyson, and CEObuilder.com.
What a cool guy, Rich. I mean, he's really an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of background in helping CEOs kind of see vision and manage their business and use dashboards and other tools to be able to help promote and grow their business.
Yeah, and he's got some really, really cool methods that aren't just for CEOs, that can really apply in lots of areas in the organization. And we interviewed him a while back and talked about open book management, which is a really cool philosophy.
Yep.
Okay, so for today's interview, we've got Conrad Kolba with Client Tether, which is a new CRM startup right here out of Utah.
So for those that don't know what CRM is, Chris.
Okay.
Customer relationship
management. And so we're going to be talking to Conrad about his system, but we also wanted to just talk about CRM in general because, CRM has become a big issue for businesses of all size, but particularly small businesses. If they can leverage and use CRM effectively, it can really kind of give them some advantages against, their competitors. And so if you could just start at the very basics, what is a CRM, a customer relationship management system, designed to do? What are the basic functions that you'll see in a CRM system?
Sure. So a CRM is basically there to simplify the business owner's life. It's there to keep all the information in a specific location so that if there are any questions about a specific customer or about a job or whatever, he can go back to his CRM, back to his software, and reference it and see exactly what's going on and things like that. So
it's a way to document. So that's
for sure. Document a lot of things.
But more than just document.
Yeah. It's supposed to make have all your information into one place. So
Okay.
everything about your customers, your business.
Also your prospective customers, right?
Yes. Whether they're old customers, new customers, prospective customers, dead customers, all your customers are basically in one place. So if you wanted to send a mass email to all of them, you have that ability to export them and send that out to them. But it's supposed to, the CRM is basically designed to make the business owner's life easier and make his workflow more efficient.
And a lot of it is focused around sales. That tends to be a focus of many CRM systems, but it's also important from a customer service standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes, we kind of have a great system for getting the sale, but then we forget that we can use that same system then to document the relationship with that customer now.
You sure can, yeah. A lot of good CRMs will have options where you can text directly from the CRM to the customer or email directly from the CRM to the customer. So it tracks the conversation. You can record your customer's likes or dislikes, whether they like to go boating, and you can, reference that if you're ever going boating or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's
when you
supposed to
say
make life
record, you're making notes, but do some CRMs incorporate recorded phone conversations from a compliance standpoint or potential litigation standpoint?
I would imagine there are some of them out there. Ours does. I'm not familiar with too many that do, to be totally honest.
Okay.
It's not necessarily most of them do not integrate with a phone system or a phone service like that. It's mostly for recording information about your client, and for tracking purposes and for following them through whatever
the life cycle of the client, right?
Customer, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and for every business, there's a different cycle. I mean, some businesses are highly transactional, where it might just be
Yes.
one deal. You do one deal with them, and maybe 20 years later they need you again, but like putting on a roof or something.
Yeah.
But then there's other businesses where you have a complex relationship that you have to manage, and your needs, depending upon that sales cycle and the nature of your customers, that might push you towards one system or another, I would imagine.
For sure. Yep. So you're going to try and want to find one that is that will meet your needs. There's no question. There are some that are very, very complex, and it might be the one that will meet your needs. There are others that are very simple, that you may just want to track your customer's name and contact information, and that's about it. Maybe when you landed the project with them and what the job value was, or whatever it might be. There are lots of CRMs out there that can fill whatever need you have.
So let's just to throw out some names so people, maybe if they've, heard of these systems. So, like one of the really old CRMs that's been around forever that I used years ago was ACT. It was, like a PC-based program.
Goldmine, wasn't that
Goldmine, that was another one that used to be around. But now there's a lot of these sort of web-based systems that I think have become more popular.
Probably the biggest one right now is Salesforce. It's massive. It's a massive program. It's very, very good at what it does. Most users only use less than 5% of what the capacity of it is. But there are lots of them. There are honestly a ton of them out there.
Right.
And they range from price, from $50 up.
Yeah. No,
hundreds
it's
and
all
hundreds
over
of
the
dollars.
place.
Yeah.
It really is.
$50 per month per
yeah.
user.
Yeah, usually there's an additional charge for every single user that is added to the system. But for the most part, unless you buy it off the shelf and you install it onto your computer, it is a monthly cost because they are cloud-based.
Are there still PC-based CRMs? It's been a long time since I've looked, but
I don't know, to be totally honest. I would imagine that there are, but off the top of my mind, I can't think of any that are currently.
It seems like it's
like
all web-based now. The one we currently use, which is a relatively inexpensive one, it's web-based and does what we need. And I just, it
doesn't do everything we need, I think.
Well, but it did what we needed at the time. Yeah.
Right.
So,
exactly.
All right. So for a small business owner, we talked a little bit about, what CRMs do, but, for a small business, what are some specific examples of ways that they can help a small business. Obviously, keeping track of prospects is important. Knowing more about your customers in some central place. What are some of the other functional things that a small business owner might do with a CRM system, that maybe they don't even realize is a CRM function?
Sure. There's a few things. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is basically a calendar. One of a good functioning CRMs should have a very decent calendar, a good calendar. You should be able to see your appointments at very easily, potentially callbacks at a certain time or day. So a calendaring aspect to the CRM is quite important, so that it can manage your time frame as well. Of course, it's going to have your customer database in there. Every CRM should have that.
So all their contact information.
All the contact information, addresses, phone numbers, emails, their website, potentially even their pets' names or
whatever's important.
Birthdays. Whatever's important to that business owner that they need to track and be in there.
And oftentimes some custom information that might be specific to the business, because maybe whatever your business is, there's some like really important piece of information that you need to know about the customer that some CRM programmer didn't know about. So a lot of times there is some customization that needs to be done, right?
Yep, for sure. So like you were saying earlier about sales cycles, every business has a different sales cycle than the other one. A flooring business might have something very, very different than a dentist, how they manage their clients and how that sales cycle might be. So some of the better ones will have variable sales cycles that they can input on their own, and then track those customers or track their clients specifically to that sales cycle. So if they're ever wondering, well, let's look at all of our pending customers and figure out if we can get them to become closed customers, or let's look at the ones that are in the retention aspect, or the ones that are completed but not paid, or something like that. And to be able to filter your customers in that manner can give you a really good idea as to how kind of how your business is going.
Well, we talk a lot about the funnel sometimes in the sales. Where is it, so you can identify if you've got a glut of work coming up or nothing to do at all. I mean, that's an important part of forecasting. That a lot of businesses they really, they're kind of caught off guard by those things because they haven't done a good job of tracking the sales process, so they don't know what's coming down the line.
Well, one thing even on top of is tracking the sales cycle is the lead source. Probably most businesses do not track their lead sources. So that would basically be where my leads came from, and then track that to how many leads did I get from this specific source, and how many were closed, and what were the average dollar values, and does that marketing spend for those leads, does it make sense?
Yeah, did we get a good ROI on that marketing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, most small business owners, they're worried about getting their jobs done. They're not necessarily worrying about their ROI. They just know that I'm getting leads and I'm servicing them, but
how much is each lead costing you? Do you have a lead source that the cost is way out of whack with the return?
Exactly.
Well, and then you can also should be able to track like activity of your salespeople and of your service people.
For sure.
With a good CRM, right?
Well,
I manage everything.
I used to work for a company that did a lot of direct mail. That was one of the primary marketing methods for that company. And, we would get leads, all right, but we might send out like 10,000 pieces of mail and get 4 leads from it. And so, sure, if you just look at it from the standpoint of getting leads, we got leads, but the cost per lead was astronomical.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes, like you say, it's really good if a business can drill down and look at how much is this costing us.
So they know how to spend their advertising.
Yeah. And what the acquisition cost is for each marketing source. And once you can figure that out, and if you have one that gives you a whole bunch of many leads at a very insignificant cost, then by all means.
Well, you should probably be able to track the type of lead too. In other words, are the leads that are coming from this source
do they actually
high
sell?
volume leads or low volume leads, or
Yeah.
sell, looky-loos, or are they people that actually close?
And the average value of that lead too. Some lead sources may have a value that's 3 times more than other lead sources. So all those things, a good CRM can give you that knowledge and give you that wisdom and look into your business without having to spend hours adjusting through numbers.
Do CRMs typically include the analytics to make sense of that? I mean, sure, you can track it, but a lot of business owners, they need to be able to like see it.
Drill down quickly.
Drill down and look quickly. Is that something that's frequently there, or are some much better at that than others?
You know what? They're all over the place.
Okay.
Some are very, very simple with just tracking the information and very simple. And others do a fantastic job of it.
Okay.
It really depends on what your needs are. And also it seems like the more you want to spend, the more information into your business you're going to get.
Sure.
So on a monthly basis for that CRM. If you want
Sure.
to spend
So
more,
you
you're
get a little
gonna
more
of
business
it.
intelligence when you go with the
Yep.
more sophisticated products that include the analytics and include forecasting
But
and
it
all
only
those
works
kind of
if
things.
you put in the stuff.
You got to have good data.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the problem with any system, whatever it's enterprise resource planning or whatever it is. There's always an issue there.
Yep.
So what are we talked about some typical functions of CRMs. What are some of the things that just a lot of them aren't doing that maybe they should be doing? Where do they fall short?
I would probably say that this is my opinion, all CRMs should have better reporting. The reporting is what is going to give that business owner knowledge into his business. And without that knowledge, he's going to be, driving his car without a steering wheel. He's not going to know where to go because he doesn't have that knowledge, doesn't
Right.
have that intelligence. So reporting, I think, is one of the big things that it should have. Another thing is I believe that there should be a heck of a lot more automation being done with new leads, with calling them, emailing them, and stuff like that. Also
So system-generated activities that are triggered by the fact that a new lead is input into the system. So things that just sort of automatically start happening.
and that's the whole goal for a CRM, is to make the business owner's life easier.
Right.
And the automation of things, of activities that he would normally do, but he has to remember to do it and then actually sit
Sure.
down and do it. That automation of those items is invaluable for that business owner.
Well, and that's where it's probably really important to integrate things like email and text or whatever other ways you communicate with customers, because then you can have that automation. If you've got a completely standalone system that doesn't talk to the outside world, well, there's really no automation that you can do.
To a certain extent, yeah.
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 Well, I mean, it just kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
What other things do you see? I mean, I know that one thing that always used to frustrate me, and this was years ago, that they weren't like, if I had a bunch of contacts at one company, it wasn't really good at like organizing and keeping those people together as multiple contacts at one company, and that always frustrated me because it was, they had information all over the place. Is that something that the CRMs have gotten better at, as far as, kind of lumping all the stuff for one customer together and another customer together, even where you have multiple contacts?
Again, you'd probably go from CRM to CRM. Some of them might be fantastic at just that, and others might not be.
Yeah.
It's again that question of what need do I have, and then
Right.
going after that CRM who fulfills that need.
Yeah, and if you're doing business to consumer, that's probably not important to you, because
Yeah.
every customer's a customer. But
Yeah.
in B2B sales, a lot of times you've got
Multiple contacts.
multiple
with them.
contacts,
Yeah.
and how do we bring all of that together so that if I'm looking at the overall client relationship, I'm not just seeing the one person, I'm seeing the entire picture.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that kind of always used to drive me crazy, and our systems weren't able to do that. Well, when we come back from the break, there's lots of other things to talk about. And, specifically, we want to talk more about, how it can help after the sale, because, a lot of times the focus when people are selling CRM systems and people are buying CRM systems is, how can I get more sales? But of course, customer retention is critical as well.
And also we want to focus on, areas that aren't just email stuff. So
Sure. Yeah. And we're going to get into that as soon as we come back from our break.
He's just made in America.
As a small business owner, you have questions. Will my cash flow cover expenses? How do I get understandable, actionable reports about my business? What is the best option for raising capital? Clarity CFO is your finance partner that thinks like an entrepreneur. We're all about helping you improve cash flow, meet opportunities with confidence, and grow your business. Visit our website at www.claritycfo.com to receive a free review of your business metrics and to start getting answers to your questions. Cash flow, confidence, growth. Visit claritycfo.com today.
Small business owners and CEOs, where do you turn for objective counsel on your most critical business decisions? How do you assure your personal growth as a CEO? How do you get an unbiased review of your plans and strategic direction? What provisions are you making for perpetuation of your business beyond yourself? For over 20 years, CEO Builder has been the answer to these questions for many Utah CEOs. Join us for a complimentary forum or coaching session through our website at www.ceobuilder.com.
As a small business owner, you are not just building a business, you're building a legacy. Let the attorneys at Callister, Nebaker, and McCullough counsel and assist you as you navigate the legal complexities of organizing, financing, and operating a successful business. At Callister, Nebaker, and McCullough, we build, cultivate, and defend legacies. Your business, your family, your future. To learn more about how we can help, call 801-530-7300 or visit us online at cnmlaw.com. That's cnmlaw.com.
It's tough for small businesses to keep up with all the new regulations, the new healthcare law, employee handbooks, human resources, OSHA safety, employment discrimination and harassment, business insurance, workers' compensation. It is also complicated. Most business owners are doing their best just to make a small profit. If there were only a simplified way to manage all of this, now there is. Summit Risk Management in Insurance can show you how. www.summit-risk.com. That's summit-risk.com.
Okay, so we're back with Conrad Kolba from Client Tether. And they produce a CRM system, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the unique features of your system. But before we get into that, before the end of the break, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things you can do from a retention standpoint with CRM systems to help retain business, because a lot of us are in industries where our clients keep paying us for a long time if we do a good job. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that CRM can help automate in that perspective?
There are several companies out there that can help with the retention aspect. So once you're a customer, whether you're going to be dealing with them on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis or on a every 10-year basis, mm-hmm. It's always to be good to be at the top of your customer's mind. Mm-hmm. So some of the best practices for it is to send them emails, potentially call them, send them texts. But the problem for small business owners is that they're busy doing their work.
They're doing the work that someone hired them for, not necessarily cultivating the relationship or whatever the case might be.
So some of the CRMs have a good capability of being able to send emails out for you mm-hmm. on a timely basis, or reminding you to make those calls. And everyone wants to buy from their friends, mm-hmm. and everyone wants to feel important.
Sure.
And if a business owner, specifically that business owner, were to call back their customer, his customer, her customer, every 6 months, just because.
Right. Just check in. How's it going?
How's it going? How's the family? How's the
whatever
new carpet?
Got you. Yeah.
Whatever. And that in my opinion is a game changer. I'll give you an experience that I had.
Okay.
I'm 39. I'm a little older to have my wisdom teeth out, but last year I had my wisdom teeth pulled. And the dentist himself called me the next day asking me how I was. Mm-hmm. And I got my wisdom teeth taken out on a Friday. So he called me on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Just asking, how are things going? That was a really tough one. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And I thought, holy crap, I will be forever going to him for the rest of my life.
Right. Well, just that little contact made a big difference. And It probably took almost no time. He probably spends 20 minutes a day doing those calls, if it's even that long.
Well, and speaking about dentists, I was talking to my dentist. He didn't have a CRM system. I told him he should really get one, and a system that send out text messages. And all of a sudden, every 6 months now I get a text message saying, "Hey, Mark, it's time to come in and have your teeth cleaned." So, that's we talk about client relationship and building those relationships, but it's also a reminder system to help people when they're on this kind of ongoing service, whether it be your vehicle or your teeth or whatever it is, insurance.
Well, it's particularly
whatever it
important
is.
in those relationships that you hope to be sticky. If it's not just a one-time sale, and that's if you're in a business where it's a one-time sale, that's fine.
But it's automated, so now all of a sudden the system's texting me rather than him having to have a live person call me.
And so let's talk a little bit about that, because that's one of the things that your system kind of does that's unique, is that you handle phone calls and text. You kind of help manage more of the contacts. So tell us about how that works.
Sure. So on the retention side, we have basically two calendars in our CRM. We have a CRM that handles the appointments calendar and then also a retention calendar. And that calendar is to remind the business owner that it is that time for that business owner to be calling that customer. In our CRM, and you can set up whatever time frame you want to call back your customers. It might be, for us, or for some businesses, it's every year, some business every 6 months, however it is. And you can set up whatever time frame you want for your customers, and it'll be an email will be sent to you the night before. Hey, you're supposed to be calling Mark and John and Kevin and whoever this next day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you call from the system, the call gets recorded and everything.
Now, when you say call from the system, how does that work?
So in our system, once you open up your client tether dashboard, there's a little phone button. You can click on there, and it will call you.
So it must connect. Oh, it's calling you. Okay.
It'll call you first off, and it'll say you are in the process of calling Mark. You push the 1, and it calls Mark, and then it connects the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing about that is it also records your conversation for you. So if there's any pertinent information that you need to remember, or that you fail to write down properly, you can go back to that conversation and listen.
And that's
to it
just
again.
automatically documented in the system. Then it just
Automatically
shows up
done.
right there.
Yep.
Now, you probably hear of all these systems when they do record, they're making some kind of a statement that this message is, or this conversation is being recorded. Is that an issue?
As long as here in Utah, only one party needs to know.
Okay, so it
specifically.
probably depends on the state.
It
So if
depends
you're
on the state,
doing
yeah.
business across state lines, you probably need to understand
You
what
just
those
have to
rules
remember
are.
to.
And it probably also depends what you're going to do with it, I imagine, is probably also an issue as well. I mean, if it's just to make notes, maybe it's less of an issue than if you're going to
haul it into court.
Yeah. But at the same time, you never know what conversation is going to be hauled into
Exactly.
court.
Right,
so
exactly.
Well, and I think most people are used to having conversations recorded these days. It's pretty common practice. But so are you doing this from your desktop, or is this from a cell phone? And if so, if it's from the desktop, is it somehow connected to your phone system then?
You don't need any kind of special phone system whatsoever. You can use your phone, you can use your tablet, you can use your desktop, doesn't matter. You set the system up so it calls whatever phone number you dictate it to call. So
Okay.
if you want it to call your cell phone first and then it calls the other party, then you can do that. If you wanted to call your home phone number or your...
Is it calling from a number that is my landline number or my cell phone number, or is it using a different number?
It is, every account has their own phone number.
Okay.
So that phone number that the client tether will give you will call you, and then it will call
And so
your
I could get an 801 area code, or if I'm in another state, a different area code.
whatever area code you want. Yeah.
So that it doesn't look like what I was thinking about is, when I get a call on my cell phone and I don't recognize the number, especially if
You
it's an
don't answer
800 number, I don't answer it because I don't want to.
Oh yeah, I get one salesperson that calls me, and it's an 801 number, and I recognize it now, but he's calling me from some other state now.
Yeah.
Most companies aren't there yet. They're just using the number, the area code that they're calling from, and like you say, I usually don't pick up.
Or it says unknown. I mean, why am I going to answer the phone if it says unknown? If they want to be unknown, then I don't want to know them. So that's
exactly that.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, you have the ability to pick whatever.
And then you can set it up where
area
it
code.
says it's coming from your company on their caller ID or whatnot.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can set it up however you want it, and whatever caller ID you want it to, or whatever area code I should say, you want to use, you have that ability to pick whatever area code you have. So
That's definitely unique.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a CRM that
yeah,
does
that is well. I'm not terribly familiar with any CRMs who have this phone functionality built in with it, and that's the one side. That's the retention side of the software that is kind of special with Client Tether. The other side is the new lead. When you acquire a new lead, most businesses acquire their new leads from the internet, one way or another, whether it's a third-party lead generator or from their own AdWords or their own website or whatever it might be. But again, with small business owners, they're busy doing their work. They're not monitoring their inbox on a minute-to-minute basis. And the problem with a lot of the leads is that they're going to sit inside their inbox for potentially hours or potentially even days before they contact.
They don't get acted upon quickly enough.
Not fast enough.
Because if somebody filled out a form or whatever the case might be somewhere, you should get back to them
Yeah,
while they're still interested.
Depending upon the industry. I mean, it could be only the life cycle of that lead could be very short.
Yeah. MIT and Inside Sales, they're a fairly well-known business here in Utah. They did a study where they studied hundreds of thousands of calls, and they came to the conclusion that if you call your customer within 5 minutes of them asking to be called or submitting that submission, you're 900 more times likely to get in contact with that customer and 21 times more likely to qualify that customer. So that first 5 minutes is
critical.
Is the most important sales process of that sale.
Well, even with relationship though, I just yesterday I had a client email me, and literally I called them right back, and she came on the phone. She says, "Wow, that was so fast. I barely had time to get up off my chair and come back to my phone." And so, if you can be in a situation like that, even with an existing client, that's impressive.
Yep.
Yeah. Our company, we run an HR help desk, and we get stuff off, people submit tickets all the time, and that's one of our big things is to get that initial contact back right away, because this is somebody with a question. This question matters to them. They it may be an easy question, but for whatever reason they thought it was important enough to contact us.
Yeah.
And so we have 100% satisfaction rating on our online surveys that people complete after their interactions with us, and I think a big part of that is quick follow-up.
Yeah.
Because that's what the world expects today. They
So
don't
this-
want to wait a week.
So this
It's
system
so true.
helps them do that, manage that.
It actually doesn't help them. It does it for them.
Oh, okay.
So once it's set up the way that they want it, it will literally, they could be driving down the freeway for, they could be in a movie, they could be doing whatever they want to be doing, and all of a sudden they'll get a call, and client tether will let them know you have a new lead, Jane Doe. Push 1 to connect, push 2 to delay it 5 minutes, push 3 to delay it 15 minutes, push 4 to cancel the call, and push 9 to remove it from the calling feature. So if you push 1, it will call Jane Doe, and that whole process from Jane Doe pushing the submit button on your web form to you being on the phone with her is about 20 to 30 seconds.
Right.
And
Wow.
literally that exact same experience happens every single time with which your experience that you had with the lady that you called back so quickly. They
Now-
start looking around the room thinking, are they looking
they
at me?
spying
How
on
do they
us?
see that?
This is too big brotherish.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But that's true, but it's also just what people expect. I mean, they want instant responses today.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't, nobody mails off a self-addressed stamp envelope anymore. Now it's, I want it now, it's, and I think
But
that
even with that, though, I don't know that the expectation is that immediate. I mean, if someone calls you back within an hour or 2 hours, or even sometimes that same day, most people are okay with that. But that, especially on a prospective, a prospect standpoint, that would definitely show that person the type of response that they can expect if they choose to become a client of yours.
And
Now-
if we are that responsive at that point, we try and be that responsive, or the
All the way
business
through
owners,
it.
all the way through, all
Yeah.
the way through. And another thing with the software is that if, we might be at our desk typing, and I'm at my cubicle or something like that, and I probably should be working and I'm not, and I fill out this, I need my windows washed, and I submit something. I can't talk to the guy right now. So Client Tether is set up so that you can email, text, and call several times, like immediately, 15 minutes later, an hour later, 4 hours later, the next day at 2 o'clock, the next day at 8 o'clock, the next day after that, you send an email out, then the text, and there's a whole
so you can sort of have
schedule.
an automated campaign that occurs once they've made that initial contact.
Exactly. The business owner has spent money on that lead, and he should do, or she should do, everything possible to turn that lead into an actual client. And
Now,
Client Tether does
now from the standpoint of opting in and all that, I assume that if they fill out something online to ask for you to contact them, they've opted in, right? I mean, is there anything special you have to do as far as from an emailing or texting standpoint, so that you're not in trouble? Or
no, on our website, we give each business owner a key, a web key, and it can be placed on the back end of their website in the HTML side of their site, and it will show a little web form on their business
okay.
owner. So we made it fairly simple that way,
right?
and it has a checkbox to agree to text message them or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I was going to say. You better have something in there
Yeah.
saying that, hey, I agree to whatever, and then
Receive
that way
a
you can
text
fall
message.
back.
Now, emails and phone calls, I think it's kind of expected if I were to go on there
Yeah.
and submit something.
Why are
now,
you
a text
calling me?
message.
Well, why'd you give me your phone number?
Yeah.
I don't mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's somebody who does that. So, Let's talk a little bit about mobile. You mentioned earlier on a tablet or on their cell phone. I mean, I imagine that's an important feature of your system is the ability to kind of access this data from any device.
It is. It's web-based, so you can log into it from any device that you want.
Okay.
It's you will probably more want to log into it when you're sitting at a desk, sitting in front of your computer,
right?
Because you have the time to to make those callbacks or to input the specific customer information or to fix your sales cycle or to update certain things. Mm-hmm. But when you're on the go,
and customer contacts you,
then or the system contacts you because you've got a new lead, mm-hmm. or there's another lead coming in or whatever it might be. It calls your cell phone. It calls whatever number you set it to call. So maybe you have a secretary somewhere at the office and you're out and about. And maybe you want to change it so that at 5 o'clock it doesn't go to her anymore, and then from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock it goes to your cell phone instead of something. Okay. You have that option to modify.
So you can kind of change the schedule on how all of that works. What about when you have multiple salespeople? I mean, how does it get distributed out? How do you handle that?
We can have it ring multiple phone numbers at the same time.
Okay.
And then whoever picks it up first
wins.
Yep.
So we don't want to plug different products, but I will say we are getting signed up with Client Tether, and I guess we'll report back in the future how things go, but we're excited about it. Why don't you give us your contact information so people know how to get a hold of you?
Sure. The website is clienttether.com. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to info@clienttether.com. If you want to give us a call, our number is 801-429-9080. That's 801-429-9080. If you go to our website, you can do a little demo of yourself by plugging in some phone numbers, acting as a business owner and also a new lead, mm-hmm. and you can see how quickly that phone call actually happens for that new lead and the emails and texts that happen. So
yeah, the quick response. I think that's a really cool feature, is that you're automating a quick response, so that, and it also kind of enforces your salespeople to respond quickly because they're getting called.
They don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice. Yeah. Now, does it generate an exception or something to let the business owner know if something doesn't get handled? I mean, is there reporting for that?
At the top of the CRM, if there's a new lead like that,
mm-hmm.
it'll always be in red.
Okay.
So as soon as you log in, you're going to see, I have a new lead. He's basically, or she's highlighted in red, and you can see exactly where that person is in the sales.
Cool. Well, we're totally out of time, so thank you so much, and we're anxious to try out your system.
It's time for this week's First Utah Business Spotlight.
Mark Hunter here with Small to Large, and today we're visiting with Dr. Note with the Utah Sleep Apnea Dentistry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Note, tell us a little bit about sleep apnea and what that is.
Okay, so sleep apnea is the word that it basically says without breath or without air, and so it just basically means lack of oxygen, lack of oxygen intake. And so obstructive sleep apnea would mean that there's some type of obstruction that's occurring that's making you not breathe. There's central apneas, which is basically the brain. It doesn't allow, stops the lungs from breathing.
Okay.
But obstructive apnea means there's some kind of obstruction in your throat that doesn't allow the air to come out.
So what is the result of that then, if you have sleep apnea?
So the result are some very serious medical conditions. It's also a big concern for trucking industry and the airline industry, because when you're severely sleep deprived,
mm-hmm.
and you're tired, and you people fall asleep at the wheel, so that's a concern. But it's also a concern for people because lack of oxygen to your brain has a lot of effects on your body.
Okay.
It's very difficult and hard on your body.
So how would somebody know if they had sleep apnea? Is it very obvious?
Yeah, sometimes it's very obvious. You can usually, for example, your spouse would know if you're sleeping and snore.
Okay.
So snoring is one of the main indicators of sleep apnea. Sometimes.
Well, maybe I have it then.
I think a lot of people have it and they don't know they have it. Mm. But a lot of times we think snoring is just quite innocent, but it can be very big problematic. Also, sometimes people just stop breathing and they notice that they stop breathing at night.
Mm-hmm.
Tiredness during the day is one of the symptoms. People have diabetes, high blood pressure is That's one of the side effects of sleep apnea. So
Interesting.
I think
Okay, so it really can impact a lot. So, doctor, what are some of the options that people have if they have sleep apnea? How do they deal with it?
Okay, so what's recommended often by physicians is a CPAP machine. It's a very common term that people
Right.
use. It's a continuous air pressure. And it's basically a mask that you put on your mouth, and it allows air to pump
And
through.
you sleep with that thing
And you
on
sleep
you
with
the
that
whole-
thing on. It's
Okay.
got some hoses and attachments, and it's got a
Seems-
humidifier
seems
in it.
complicated.
And it's very complicated. So that's one option. The other option that's been recognized by the Academy of Sleep Medicine, this is the physician side, they recommend oral appliances for mild to moderate sleep apnea. And oral appliances are basically a device that you put in your mouth that keeps your jaw forward and also keeps the airway open by doing so. And all these appliances or machines, we titrate them and we get them to where they work very effectively.
Okay. And we talked about some of the symptoms. Is grinding your teeth one of the symptoms, or
Yeah, grinding your
Right,
teeth,
biting down, or-
grinding, clenching.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes you'll see wear in the teeth for a patient. TMJ problems, headaches,
okay.
morning headaches,
Right.
sleepiness during the day. What would be some more? Snoring. Snoring, something common as snoring. Somebody may have sleep apnea, or they notice that they stop breathing at night. Or,
That might wake them up.
Mhm.
I've actually had that happen to me.
yeah,
so.
and they have to go to the bathroom. They have to get up at night, and they wonder why they get up so often, or they can't go to sleep. Insomnia, those types of things.
Okay, that's good to know. So there's these devices. Why would I go to a dentist to get one of these devices, or is that where I'm assuming
Yeah.
since you're a dentist. So.
Yeah, so an oral device has to be made by dentists because it's fitted to the teeth in the mouth. So dentists are familiar with the structures in the mouth and the temporomandibular joint, and so they're very comfortable making these types of appliance. Some of the dentists have more experience than others doing this because they make a lot of them, and there's some adjustments that need to be made, and we want to titrate these appliances to make sure that they work well. So we do a lot of follow-ups with them.
Okay.
Doctors are not usually comfortable with
Sure,
that.
it's not their specialty. So it seems like it might be an expensive appliance. Maybe you can talk about that, or is it covered by insurance?
Yeah.
Maybe address that.
So yeah, these appliances are completely covered, just like CPAP. The oral devices, appliances, are all covered by medical insurance.
Okay, so it's
And
not
medi-
it's medical insurance, not dental insurance.
That's right. So
Okay.
medical insurance will cover a majority of the appliance cost. And besides that, it's nice because it's very low maintenance. You don't have to replace hoses or masks. And so it's very low maintenance. These appliances are warranted, and they last quite a long time.
So I imagine to whomever you're sleeping in bed next to, it has an impact too, because you're not hooked up to a big machine that's probably noisy, or I don't know. how
Yeah,
these-
so it's very nice. For example, active duty personnel or military people,
Okay, yeah.
they have to fly, and so they can't mobilize with a CPAP, but they
Okay.
can mobilize with an oral appliance.
Okay.
Sometimes people go camping, they're out, or they're on an airplane. You could pop the appliance in. It's very easy to do that.
Okay, great. And now I understand you're Gephardt approved as an
Yes.
organization. So tell us a little bit about that. What was that process like for you?
Well, they're very strict in how they choose people, and I think they have high standards, high qualifications. So we're very happy that we can be part of that.
Oh, good. So they kind of put you through the ringer, make sure you're good
That's
with,
right.
with
They check us
customers
out
or
very well.
clients. Okay, good. So, doctor, I've seen these oral appliances, and I'm not sure if they're the same thing, but I've seen them advertised and maybe on the internet. Is that a good place to go?
Well, it's not a very good place to go because, first of all, they can make apnea worse. And it's commonly shown that you put this device in, it may stop the snoring, but the apnea gets worse. And so that's kind of a dangerous situation. It's kind of like self-medicating. You don't, go get your own antibiotics. You go to your doctor to make sure
Right.
that you really need it.
So, based upon the fitting and the design, that all has an impact on.
You want a good fit, and you want to make sure it doesn't damage your teeth structures or oral structures or your joint. And so
Okay.
those are important things to look at. Plus comfort. Comfort is very important. So if you have something customized, you're going to want to wear that.
Okay. So you're located down in Utah County, down in
Yes.
American Fork.
Yes.
So are there other dentists in Utah that offer this same service, or is this very specialized? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's a few dentists that offer this. I think most dentists are not necessarily comfortable with it because we have to have special insurance. We have to deal with medical insurance, not dental insurance. So we need to have a person that can bill that properly so patients can get reimbursed well. And also just the experience of making multiple appliances. We do quite a few every month. And
You don't manufacture them.
we don't manufacture
size it.
them here. We size it, we fit it, and then we have the patient come back for a 2-week recall, for a 3-month recall, 6 month, 1 year. And we always want to keep following up with these patients. We don't want them to get lost. We want to make sure that they're taken care of.
Make sure it's working.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, Dr. Note, people can get a hold of you on your website, which is UtahSleepApneaDentistry.com.
Yes.
And then where are you located in American Fork?
We're located here in American Fork, so we're centrally located. It's pretty easy for people. We're just off the freeway, and people from northern Utah County and southern Salt Lake Valley can easily get to us.
Okay, great. Well, Dr. Note, thank you. With Utah Sleep Apnea Dentistry, we appreciate you being on our show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are 5 key questions every successful business owner asks every day. How can we increase innovation? How can we reduce operating costs? How can we grow our sales and market share? How can we create new products and stay cutting edge? And how can we improve our cash flow? By Monday's Howcanology web app answers all of those questions by empowering your employees to become valuable, producing entrepreneurs. Contact by Monday at 801-225-1600 to learn more about Howcanology.
As a small business owner, I have struggled with controlling my workers' compensation costs. Some of my injured workers have really taken advantage of the system, costing me an arm and a leg, no pun intended. I finally found someone who can help, Summit Risk Management and Insurance. They have saved my company thousands of dollars on my insurance costs and have improved my safety program. I recommend them to any business owner. www.summit-risk.com. That's summit-risk.com.
If you own a small business, you've experienced problems with technology. Lost files, server crash, blue screen of death. It always means one thing, an IT nightmare that keeps you from running your business. IT Now keeps those IT nightmares at bay. IT Now is the leading provider of professional IT services for small and medium businesses. Call IT Now today for a free network evaluation, and soon you could be nightmare-free and experience the bliss of things running as they should. 801-562-8778.
Phil, your golf game is amazing. Where do you find the time?
I've been using ADP for my business, the world leader in payroll services. I manage my payroll, retirement plan, and HR all on my iPad, mobile app, or with a quick phone call. It's easy and really affordable.
I'm just so busy. Sounds great. How do I get a quote?
Call Dave at 800-422-3705. He's been with ADP here in Utah for 15 years.
Thanks. That number was 800-422-3705.
Welcome back. Here's our second Utah Business Spotlight for the week.
Mark Hunter here with Small to Large, and today we're meeting with Ned Chedister with Weichert Realtors, right?
Yes.
Okay, and thank you for being with us on our show.
You bet.
So, Ned, tell us a little bit about your company, what you do.
So our company was founded in 1997, and we focus on residential real estate.
Okay. So no commercial at all?
We have some commercial, but mainly our focus is residential.
Okay, great.
Helping people buy and sell residential.
Okay. And so tell us, where are you located, first of all, and do you have more than one office, that type of thing, and your territory that you work?
We do. We pretty much cover the state.
Okay.
We have a location in American Fork, Utah, 359 East State Road.
Okay.
And then we have a location in St. George on Bluff Street.
Okay. All right. So, and then your American Fork location can service the whole Wasatch Front
Absolutely.
area? Okay.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of realtors out there. What sets you apart from other realtors?
I would say what sets us apart is we have a team concept, and we're focused on giving people and clients and customers that we work with a full experience. from the time that we meet with them, taking them through a credit issue, maybe if they have some credit issues that
So
we need
you're
to
able
resolve.
to help them.
Absolutely.
Give them
Repair
resources
credit.
to repair credit? Okay.
Absolutely. And then also taking them through the mortgage process if they're buying. And then just taking them through the process of purchasing a home if they're buying. Helping them with the home inspection and referring different affiliations that we have with that. Insurance needs that they may have. Home warranty. We really are a full service brokerage and able to walk people through the process. On the selling side, if somebody has a home that they need to sell, we have the services to be able to handle that from different websites that we use, the virtual tours, and the marketing that we do on not only a local basis, but on a national perspective as well.
Okay, so to bring in people who are relocating here.
Absolutely. We do a large portion of our business is actually relocation, working with companies in the area if they're hiring and moving
So
employees around.
you're actually working with those local businesses to
Absolutely.
find out who they're wanting to bring,
Yep.
what talent they're bringing here to Utah.
Yep, we do a lot, and that's kept us pretty busy recently.
Okay, great. And so, so what is the difference between a buyer's agent and a seller's agent, and do you do? And it sounds like you do both.
Well, I do. I actually have 3 full-time buyer's agents that work with me, and they're focused on taking a buyer through the process, and a little bit that I touched on earlier. But they also need to be familiar in order to be a good buyer's agent, which mine are. They are focused on knowing the market and the different loan programs that are available and the different types of loans, and if they're grant programs or different things with down payment assistance that can assist them in the process.
Programs that the government might have available.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They need to be familiar with, really getting into a buyer's needs and being a good listener, knowing the area, knowing exactly what their buyer needs. One of the biggest complaints that we've heard from different people that we've worked with over the years is they feel like an agent wants to show them or sell them a house that the agent's interested in, not necessarily what the client wants. And so we really focus on what does the client want and satisfying their needs.
I've actually had that personal experience, so I know that's extremely frustrating.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So that's good. So you have both sides of it. Now, is there an advantage if you represent both the parties involved?
Absolutely. We can save people some money on the commission.
Okay.
We can also save them a lot of time and hassle based on the way our systems and things are set up with getting people pre-qualified before we show them houses and making sure that the buyer is set and ready to go and ready, willing, and able to purchase.
Well, that's a lot. That's nice because then you're not wasting a bunch of time, right?
Absolutely. And then coordinating the move. If somebody is selling a home and buying with us, we can help coordinate that move in possession time and have a little more control over it and really manage the process for them.
Okay, great. So, so what challenges do people face when they're selling or purchasing a home that you've seen? I know you mentioned being frustrated with other brokers that they may have worked with, but what's the market like right now?
The market is going through an interesting time. I've been in the business almost 20 years and seen a lot of different changes in the market. Currently, one of our biggest issues is we have a shortage of inventory, which might sound surprising to some people who aren't in tune with the market. But we have fewer homes for sale today than we did a year ago.
So we need more builders building homes? Is that?
Well, not necessarily. I think with the change that we had in the market in 2008, the government corrected some things and changed the loan options and the loan programs that were available, took some loan programs away, and really kind of stiffened up the rules and regulations for lending.
Yeah.
And that changed some things. And what I think we're dealing with now, as opposed to 2008, is we have fewer short sales. There's fewer foreclosures. A short sale is when somebody owes more on their house than they can sell it for in the market.
They're upside down.
Upside down. There's fewer of those.
Okay.
And with the auto correction that the market went through, I think it took some time, and we got through that inventory, and now we're kind of back to where there's a lot of building going on currently.
Okay.
And so we're strengthening that gap, but it feels more real with the, the need to have a down payment most of the time.
Yeah.
Better credit scores. They're not just giving loans to anybody.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of a healthy market.
That's a good thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Why don't you give us your contact information so that people know how to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. The best number to reach me at would be 801-420-7653.
Okay.
On the web, we're located at utahrealestateauthority.com.
Okay.
Kind of a mouthful.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, Ned Chittister with Weichert Realtors, we appreciate you being on our show today.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today, and that's it for our show. Please join us again here next week, same time, same channel.